5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cue talent.
Welcome back to The Take on Point TV, a show where we get to hear different media professionals and their take on the media industry. I'm Isa, your Season 2 host, and even though it's our last episode of the season, we have an amazing show for you guys today. Our guests include Jonathan Pickett, a documentary filmmaker. Our second guest is Liam Reitzma, a student here at Point Loma who recently got his drone license. Let's check out with Liam, who is going to tell us a little bit more about his journey of getting his drone license.
Hello, my name is Liam Reitzma, and I've had the pleasure to work on getting my drone license in the TV workshop class. So it's super cool to go through different training and get that certification so that I can later fly drones and operate them just in future career settings. So this process was super fun, but also pretty challenging. The exam that I had to take is an actual pilot's exam, similar to what pilots that drive actually manned airplanes have to take. And so I had to learn a lot about weather and air traffic control and radio communication and even reading these pretty crazy maps. But overall, it was super fun just to kind of dive into that. And then just signing up for the tests and actually taking the test was a little bit stressful. What was on the test was a little bit different than what I studied for, but I still passed and got the certificate, so that was super cool. I'm just super interested in doing this kind of videography and how I can use drones to make videography different and kind of elevate different projects that I'm working on. I also think it's super cool. There's a lot of drone stuff related to real estate, and so potentially even going into real estate videography and photography on the side could definitely be a really cool business.
Welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed getting to know Liam. Join me in welcoming our last guest of the season, Jonathan Pickett. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So I heard that you were a child actor. We did our research.
Nice.
So how was that transition into filmmaking? And do you think that, there was a passion for filmmaking since you were a kid? How did that work for you?
It wasn't a direct path from acting to filmmaking, because there was quite a long, I don't know how many year, but several year gap between when I stopped acting and started doing film stuff. But I think it definitely maybe subconsciously planted some sort of seed, being on sets at a young age and seeing kind of the behind the scenes movie magic. But I didn't consciously think about it for many years after that. And it wasn't really until starting to make skateboard videos with friends and filming and editing through that I started to think about the actual craft of filmmaking.
Was there a project in specific that you did when you were younger that you think sparked that passion?
Yeah, well, making skate videos was a big part of it, and just seeing the way that images could be paired together and you could choose your favorite songs underneath them and create an energy and a tone through editing. That was a big spark for me. But then also once we kind of learned, my friend group learned that skill set, we would just make other funny, we'd make music videos once a year when it was spring break, and sketches to put on YouTube. So I think, kind of the magic of putting things together and editing, but also the joy of just pure creative energy, working with friends and making something together that you can be proud of and watch and share with people, was probably the spark.
I love that. So also documentaries are your main choice of filmmaking. Why is that? Do you have why did you prefer documentaries?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I always had this preconceived idea of what a documentary was growing up, which was the classic Ken Burns historical documentary with stock photos and old archival video and narration. And I was never super interested in that. But when I was a junior here, I did an internship with another Point Loma alumni named Jared Callahan. And he still is a working documentary filmmaker. And I spent the summer between my junior and senior year interning with him and shooting on a feature documentary that he was directing called Clean Slate. Mm-hmm. And that introduced me to this entire other world of what nonfiction filmmaking could be, which is you're not kind of telling this retrospective story that happened a long time ago. You're living inside the story and documenting it as it unfolds in real time, and how much that opens up this large path of the creative ways you could approach that kind of filmmaking. So yeah, and since then I think that like there's so much innovation happening in the documentary space, and there's something about also the relationship building in documentary, like meeting real people, developing relationships with them, and kind of helping tell their story that, there's like some bits of that in scripted filmmaking, but yeah, I think it's the people in documentary that really kind of draws me to that.
I love that. I'm biased too because I love documentaries.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's great.
You watch documentaries a lot?
Oh yeah, a lot. Like Netflix, everything, all the streamings.
Totally, yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Also, you made a film about chickens,
Yeah.
right? And you won a jury prize at Big Sky Documentary Film Festival? That's amazing. That's so
thank you.
cool. So what was your inspiration for that film?
Yeah, long story short, I moved to a farm in 2019 with some friends because there was a residential church program through the Church of the Nazarene that was like, the concept was to bring a bunch of 20-somethings together, some who are ministry-minded, some who are creatively inclined, and have them live in an intentional community. And so we were living like in a house together in the Bay Area for a couple of years before this opportunity to buy a farm property came up. So in 2019, the church helped us purchase this farm property, and all of these like 20-somethings who had no idea anything about farming or how to farm or take care of like farm animals moved to this farm, but we inherited, like along with the land, a bunch of chickens, goats, cows, a wild pig, and the first, to say the least, it was rocky for the first couple of weeks. But I just really loved the chickens. I thought like they're just really fun animals, and they're funky birds, and they're fun to hang out with. And some of the chickens had like strangely human-like qualities and personalities. And so yeah, the inspiration was just wanting to spend time with them and kind of use a camera to show other people what I found to be interesting and special about them. So it was a really fun process because I just started filming them for my own enjoyment, not really expecting to make any kind of film that would be seen by anyone but my roommates, and just had an absolute blast doing it. So it was a shock and a total delight when it would get into film festivals and receive some kind of honors. It was like, oh wow, I thought I was the only person who was interested in these like long observational shots of chickens.
So it's kind of like the curiosity aspect of it, but also like the passion for filmmaking combined. You would
Totally,
say.
yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Also, there's a lot of students here, as you know, since you're a PLNU alumni, that are very interested in making documentaries.
Cool.
What was it like for you breaking to the industry? Because we know it's like really hard. What is like your advice?
Big time. Advice for like a career in documentary?
Yeah, especially for people that are graduating, like how was for you breaking to that industry straight out of college?
Yeah. Well, I was really lucky in that like I interned with Jared when I was between junior and senior year, and then when I went back to school and finished Point Loma my senior year, and then when I graduated, he offered me a full-time job right out of school. So I worked with him full-time producing and editing documentaries for like 6 years.
Oh, wow.
So that was a really lucky break because it was a small production company, mostly just the two of us. So it was still a lot of feast and famine of like trying to make the docs that we were really passionate about. They were like our original ideas, but also trying to do client work and like pay the bills type jobs on the side. And that's still like, I'm freelance now, but that's still the balance I'm always trying to strike. But my advice would be like the best advice I could give would be become indispensable with like the skill sets that you have. I used to sort of think that it was a downside that I like could shoot and edit, like because it felt like I was a jack of all trades but a master of none. But as of recently, I've like tried to shift my mind into viewing that as more of a positive, because if there's a project or a client that hires me onto something, having the ability to shoot on it, having the ability to edit on it, and to be able to be hired for these different roles all for the same project has been a really great source of income. And then also like on my own projects, if I'm developing something but I haven't raised any money for the film to go hire like a director of photography to come shoot it, that doesn't have to be a barrier that stops me from pursuing it because I have the skill set to go shoot. And so yeah, especially at like a studio like this where you have access to all this great equipment, learning, how to do everything has helped me and saved me many times on projects over the years.
That's really good to hear, because I feel like some students get frustrated like when you have to try different skills within filmmaking. Oh, I don't like audio, I don't like
Totally.
operating a camera, but like you said, it's really helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is fair though. I mean, even just like laving up subjects is still something that
Yes.
frightens me quite a bit because it seems like such a risky thing with wireless labs. But yeah, just trying to embrace the uncertainty and push myself in different skill sets has been something that I felt like has yielded a lot of positive things.
That's really helpful. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Also, I saw that you do analog photography, right? So do you think that passion has helped you grow as a filmmaker somehow, or even like helped you gain more skills for the film industry?
Absolutely, yeah, hugely so. Yeah, carrying a camera around has definitely sharpened my ability to see things. It like allows me to pay more attention to people around me and things around me, and so I think from a technical perspective, it's helpful to always be taking pictures, right? Because it improves your composition, your technical ability, and your eye. So there's like that obvious advantage, but also just the way that it like tunes me into other people has been great, and it's like good practice to like always kind of be looking for those kinds of moments, and like it's a good excuse to talk to people, because if you bring your camera around, people are like, oh, look at that thing, what is that? You strike up a conversation, and I had a really hard time talking to strangers before, and that has been like a good skill set too, is like people skills, like how to have conversations with strangers is like an unexpected skill set from it.
I love that. How long have you been doing that?
I guess seriously for maybe like 6 years or something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but photography's always kind of been like this little side hobby.
Yeah.
Just for fun.
I love that. Also, do you have any more advice for students wondering, like if they wanted to follow a similar path to you, something that maybe you wish you heard before you started in this career?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is just like how much, I guess this applies to like a lot of industries, but maybe especially so for filmmaking and documentary, but how valuable relationships are, and how that's something that is not only life-giving and fulfilling to like kind of develop those connections with people who are collaborators, and then they become friends, and friends who are collaborators, but also just how many opportunities that have come my way that never would have come my way if it weren't for the relationships that I developed, even at school. I mean, like the job that I was talking about that I got offered right when I graduated was because I met someone here at Point Loma, went and saw his like film screening in class, and then like talked to him afterward, emailed and followed up, and like kind of built somewhat of a relationship that then just like continued to be fruitful for many years to come. Even now, like I've still gotten work in the last year that came from a relationship I developed at Point Loma, or like in filmmaking, there was a music composition student here named Jack Gillette when I was in school, and we collaborated together on some of my student films, and I've worked with him on a dozen other projects since over the last 9 years. Even on like the last film I just finished, we like still work together. So yeah, thinking about relationships and the people who you really like have that strong connection with, or you have shared interests or shared taste, spending time investing in those is always super valuable and never time wasted.
That's such a good advice. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Lastly, I want to give you a chance to shout out or maybe speak on something we haven't covered yet, or maybe any projects that you're working on.
Shout out. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, the one that's on my mind right now, project-wise, is just the documentary that I've been working on for like 3 years now. That's kind of been my passion project that I'm, kind of slowly pushing the boulder up the hill. But it's a feature-length documentary called "Sing at My Wake," and I'm directing it and currently editing it. And it's about this green funeral home up in Washington called Return Home, which is the first place in the world to offer human composting as an alternative to cremation or casket burial when someone dies. And so I met these people who run this facility and have followed them for the last 3 years, and kind of like tried to create this portrait of this new emerging eco-friendly death care practice. But then also through them have gotten to know some of their clients, these two people named Randall and Sharon who, Randall was in hospice when we first met, and he was pre-signed up for human composting. And I got to know him and his partner over the last 3 years and kind of followed him through the last 18 months of his life before he ultimately passed and then chose to be composted. Wow. And yeah, just like filmed and lived this project for the last 3 years, and it's now maybe like a few weeks away from being at like rough cut stage. So I'm really excited about it and very, very eager to start sharing it with the world.
That's awesome. I'm excited for you. I'm super curious to see what you came up with.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate you asking about it.
Yeah, of course. Also, thank you so much for joining us on The Take. It has
Absolutely.
been such a great time. Thanks for your insight and your advice. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for the great questions and the great research.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now let's jump to Aria, who's going to share a controversial media topic in our last segment, The Hot Take.
Reality TV might be one of the most misunderstood and underrated genres on television. And yes, I love reality TV, unapologetic. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. What the heck?
It's the last one. You're so excited.
Okay. I just wanted to be done. Can't rush through it.
You're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're good.
I'm not wearing my glasses too, so that's not helping me. Okay. Tell me when to
Okay,
go.
I'm just gonna count us down again.
Okay.
5, 4.
Reality TV might be one of the most misunderstood and underrated genres on television. And yes, I love reality TV, unapologetically. People love to say it's fake, stupid, scripted, but honestly, that take just feels lazy. It's not scripted. No one's reading lines. What is real is how people react when they're put under pressure, in competition, or in uncomfortable situations. And that's exactly why I love it. Reality TV shows you human behavior at its most raw, how people act when they're emotional, strategic, jealous, or trying to be liked. It's basically a social experiment, just with better lighting and dramatic music. And let's be real, the editing is where the real storytelling happens. Producers can turn someone into a hero or a villain with a few cuts, a soundtrack, and the right interview question. That doesn't make it fake. The power is just in the hands of the editors. So maybe the real hot take is this. Reality TV isn't dumb, it actually says a lot about us, about what we value, what we judge, and why we're so entertained by watching other people navigate chaos. And honestly, if you think you're above it, you're probably just not paying attention. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to catch you next time. From the control room to your screen, that's The Take.